we stop feeding that energy. We stop buying into it. We stop giving it energy. We stop catering to it, and we start to tune in and really honor the intuition. We start to honor ourselves. We start to look at, rather than me worry about where everyone else is, how am I doing today? I feel like I'm doing really well. Even though I'm not mastering that yet, I am on the path to understanding. Every day I'm getting better. Every day I'm a better painter. Every day I'm a better listener. Every day I am becoming more compassionate, more understanding. This is going to help you have leaps and bounds forward in your evolution, compared to sitting there saying, oh, why are they doing it and I'm not doing it? How come they have money and I don't have money? How come she's got it figured out and I don't? Oh, I don't like her. I don't even want to be around her. She's too perfect, and so I don't even like that. I'm just going to go and, be, messed up and complain and be mad at the people who are figuring it out. All these things we choose are very much either a choice into stepping into our alignment, and it's going to help us grow and evolve and love ourselves, or the dialogue in our mind is causing us to feel enslaved. It's causing us to feel helpless. It's causing us to feel hopeless, victim consciousness. So in the book, there's these 4 agreements, and they're pretty damn awesome, and they are not as easy to master as they may sound. But I tell you, if you focus every day with awareness on making sure that you are following these, maybe print them out and put them on your bathroom mirror, write them in your journal. But as you practice living in the alignment with these agreements, it will profoundly shift your living experience. It will profoundly shift your movie. And what once caused you so much drama and suffering will not have any weight. It will not have any power in your life anymore. So the first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. I cannot tell you how many people I observe that struggle because they do not have integrity. I have had clients that do this. I have family members who do this. I see people at the grocery store do this. Unfortunately, on our planet, humans really like to lie. And they do it because many of them, most of them, are not truly living in their power. They're not being authentic. So when something comes up, they say yes to a lot of things, and they really should learn to say no, or they should learn to answer in a way of, let me see how that flows, and I would love to come, and if I can, I will. But what humans need to work on is really owning their power and knowing that they have a right to choose what they want to choose. And when they say something, and they give a commitment to something, then follow through with it. Because what I've observed is the humans that say stuff like, oh, I'm going to help you with this, or, oh, I'll be there for you, or I'll give you this, I'll pay you money for that. The ones that promise these things and then they don't deliver them, it causes them damage. It causes disruption and distraction and chaos with all the people in their life that are actually counting on them. And so what will happen is eventually a person that continues to say they're going to do something and they don't follow through, they start to create a reputation where no one believes in them. No one counts on them. No one, it's like people just kind of expect, oh, Sally said it. Yeah, that shit ain't going to happen. And it's because they're not showing, can't talk. They're not being impeccable. They are not having integrity. So I feel personally, integrity is huge. Integrity is so important, not only to the others that you're sharing your movie with, but it is so important to yourself. It is important for you to trust in yourself, for you to have confidence, and for you to just feel self-love. So if you practice being impeccable with your word, you're going to have to slow down and really feel things out before you answer from now on. And when you say you're going to something or you're going to do something, do it. I see people that constantly play the victim, like, oh, I really wanted to do that, but this thing came up and, I couldn't end up coming even though I committed to coming. Or, oh, I really wanted to help that person out, but then, something distracted me and, or my husband wouldn't let me or whatever. And they start to blame and project their issue on other people, which does not empower them. It keeps them enslaved as victims. And I feel that all of us on this planet, at our deepest level, we desire to come back into our power. We desire to feel capable and to feel that we have the power to fulfill whatever soul mission we're here to fulfill. So if you're practicing a habit of lying and not having integrity, and withholding the truth or twisting the truth or bending it, or straight up saying you're going to do stuff and then you never show up, what you're doing is you're teaching people to not count on you. You're teaching people to realize you're a liar and that you have no integrity, and you're teaching yourself that. And that is not a good thing to teach yourself. And it is a great way to become a victim and to be enslaved and to suffer, not a great way to feel powerful. So the first one is to be impeccable with your word. Maybe jot that one down if you got a notebook. The second is to not take anything personally. This one can be very tricky for people in the beginning because so much we have been taught to, react to people. I had a woman, a really beautiful soul that just came, and she drove really far. She drove hundreds of miles this weekend to come up and have an auric clearing with me, and she came to one of my Empowering the Empath workshop. And the next day, her and her husband visited with me for hours, and what an amazing couple, very sweet, beautiful souls. But this woman, as she went through her auric clearing, I, explained to her, as you're working through this, you are going to have things that you have been pushing down, energies that have been causing you suffering for a long time, may start to come up to the surface so that you can address them, you can feel what you're learning from them, and you can clear them and release them from your life movie. So in an auric clearing, your whole life is not solved in one session. What it is you're starting to be trained to see in a new perspective. You're having a lot of heaviness cleared from the more subconscious levels that you're not even aware of. And it's bringing up all this energy that you have not addressed. So the reference that I get, the angels kind of give me a visual, is when you're having a clearing, imagine lifetimes that you've been pushing and pushing and pushing emotions down below the surface because you didn't want to feel them. You're kind of numb it. Oh, I don't want to deal with that. Let's push that down. Ooh, that made me angry. Let's push that down. And so as you go through a clearing process, it's like you float on your back in the water, and all these buoys of energy that you've been pushing under the water, and you've been struggling and wrestling to keep them down and protect them so no one sees they're there. Suddenly you're floating on your, you're floating on your back. And energetically, all those buoys pop to the surface because you can't hold them down any longer. Now, to a soul that's not practicing awareness, this could feel like chaos and it could feel very stressful. But if you're practicing awareness, when it pops up, whatever those emotions are, those energies are, all you have to do is look at them, see them for what they are. They're energy. They are energies that you have been holding down, that you've been attracting to you for a long time. Look into those energies. What are you here to teach me? What is this? So interestingly, this woman I'm referring to, she had, right after her clearing, a woman from her past who she had made very clear boundaries to, who had had a reputation of kind of like slandering her name and was kind of reaching out to her friends and family and texting them things that weren't true. And the intention, it sounded like, from the way she expressed it to me, sounded like the intention was to cause a lot of harm and destruction for this woman, because she had set a boundary and said, I don't want you in my life anymore, and I just don't feel like you treat me with respect. You don't have integrity, and I just really don't need this in my life anymore. So she made a statement about a month ago, I believe she said, and then after her clearing, this woman chimes back in, and she's sending texts to her husband and to her sister and to her friends and family. And she called me today, and she's like, holy crap, what the hell is that about? She was kind of upset about it, but she was like, this is just crazy. I don't understand why this is happening. What's going on with this woman? And what I told her was, we could play the game of what's going on inside of every human's mind, and that could be quite entertaining and take a long time to process all that. But the better question is, instead of me looking out of the eyes of what's going on with all of them, what's wrong with that lady, what the hell, what's making her act crazy? If we tune inward, okay, what is this energy that's coming to me again? What is this energy coming up so that I can see it? what does this energy represent? And when I helped her to see that, she was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. This is an energy of betrayal. This is an energy where women have turned on me again and again and hurt me and said things that were hurtful and untrue. So when she could see it for what it was, it's an energy. It's one of those buoys she had stuffed down because she didn't know what to do with it. Well, boop, it's right in her face. And instead of getting angry and thrashing around in the water to try to get it away from her, if she could just look into it, which we did together, look into that and say, what is this energy representing and why is it coming up again? Okay, I now realize I was just doing an auric clearing. The intention was to release energies. This is one of those energies. It is coming up so that I can see it, I can understand and learn from what I've learned from this, and now I can release it and I can allow that buoy to float off in the water. I don't need to fight it. I don't need to prove myself to it. I don't need to justify myself or defend myself. I don't need to do any excessive energy. All I need to do is learn from it, thank it for the lesson, and then release it with love and light. I release this woman's energy with love and light. I release this energy of betrayal that has hurt me for so long. I release it with love and light. There is no resistance here. This is where a miracle happens. Because you're no longer creating resistance, you are releasing. You are honoring it. You're accepting it for what it is. And if we want to explore the mind of that other woman, I told her the simple way to look at humans, if you don't want to have judgment and get angry at them, is look at it for what it is. When you see a human lashing out and being angry and hateful and creating lies and disruption, this is a very fearful human. This is a human that is totally reacting and living with the influence of fear, and their anger and their fear are controlling them. They have an intense battle happening within themselves, and if you participate with that, if your ego gets triggered and now you're fighting back and forth, all they've done is now included you energetically and vibrationally in that, and now the two of you are creating karma together, and you're creating this energetic exchange that is not very beautiful. So if we can see it with compassion, we can realize this is a woman that's hurting. She feels afraid and she feels rejected because this friend said, I don't want you in my life anymore. You're not treating me with respect. I'm setting a boundary. So this friend who felt very much like they controlled this person suddenly has no control. What does ego do when it has no control? It's going to be nasty. It's going to say hateful things. It's going to behave in crazy ways. And that is about that woman. That is her choice. But the one it's happening to has a choice as well. She can participate. She can get angry. She can get defensive. Or she can step back, take a breath, observe it for what it is. Why is this energy in my life? I now learn this lesson. I see that I've attracted this energy to me, and now I release and set it free. It is not about me, but it is an energy that was in my vibrational frequency that I'm now ready to fully release in all directions of time. That is a powerful moment. And as a soul chooses that moment to moment, we realize we don't need to be attached to each other. We don't need to be attached to people, to situations, to events, to expectations. It's not that important. What we need to do is stay aligned with our own source. We need to stay authentic and true and have integrity with ourselves. We need to stand in our power. I had another client, she's like 16 or 17. I think she's 17. Really amazing, angelic soul, but very sad, very depressed, had been through a lot of crap, and is one of these souls that so I could relate to her because when she would talk to me, it was like seeing myself as a teenager. This is such a sweet girl and so patient, but because she's been dealing with this abusive energy of a friend who really pushed her around, she bullies her, she controls her, she kind of like bribes her to do stuff. And this girl, because she's not in her power, she just lets this girl do this and she goes along with it and she resents it and gets angry, but she keeps letting people push her around. And so the same thing, I talked to her about it and I said, you know, what would be different if you actually stood in your power? Can you imagine what that would feel like?